Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. And this episode is going to be great. We have all sorts of funny stuff. We're going to talk about a couple of movies. We're going to hear some funny stories. But first, we want to acknowledge that we've had a really hard week. It's been a really hard week for our family. It's been a hard week for our extended Jewish family in the United States and in Israel, laying to rest the Bibas family. And, people don't come to this podcast for overly serious conversation, and so we're not going to unpack it all here. But if you follow us on socials individually, you've seen we have comments, and we're always open to talk to people. But we also just, as we've acknowledged when hard things are happening in various communities, we really want to send love and hugs to all of our people and renew our own family's prayer for like a safer, more peaceful world. And so with that, I'm going to change subjects abruptly and hand it over to Becky because, I guess there's no easy way to talk about how you deal with being in this world.
It's not a subject change. I actually think it's a really thoughtful transition to be like, how do we each cope with the difficult things in our lives and our difficult weeks? And, I encourage people to go for walks and get fresh air, spend time with their community. Also,
do good deeds. Do good things for people. Help the world.
Do good things for people. I have found myself over the last week, especially late at night when you're tired and things are harder and the anxiety is higher and I'm starting to spiral, I lean a little bit into some comfort retail, which
here's a question. Does that file
right now that says comfort retail?
Does that
shop now
under things you do for other people? Like, are you buying presents for people? Because I definitely
buying
sent
for herself.
a hilarious random present to Josh Brew the other day.
In some instances, I buy multiples so that I have extras, so that if someone's like, "Oh, that's a great idea," and I'm like, "Boom, here's an extra." So that does happen. I'm not.
Here's a pashmina.
Exactly. So what happened was I think I got into such a habit
Why did you choose pashmina?
And then Instagram and the internet knows my algorithm. So then they're like, oh, she wants things that are soothing. And so every day I'd be like, I need to get that.
French, old-fashioned clothes, which is what Becky also likes.
But that's the whole thing. I haven't been buying any clothing. I haven't been buying any kitchenware. I've been buying all these comfort items. But then I forget because, sometimes you buy enough stuff.
That's my entire life. There was a huge box that showed up on my porch yesterday, and I was like, well, this can't be for,
Was it a water heater?
No, it was a new camping bag for our kids. But the point is that it's a real roll of the dice.
So but then I forget. But then these gifts arrive for me that I bought for myself in a time of great need. And I open them and I'm like, so I'll tell you, this is what's arrived at my house. Some very lovely socks. All right, I guess we started small stakes. I actually bought these for my kids so I could take my version of it back, which is these microwavable beanbag things that you could heat up into a heating pad and bring into bed.
So beans.
No, a microwavable beans in a bag.
In a schmutzy cloth.
No,
she came on the podcast one time with one around her neck.
I was wearing it around my neck.
Oh, yeah.
So my children always take mine.
That got a lot of views.
So my children always take mine. So I got each of my kids one, but it's a stuffed animal, but the tushy is made of those microwavable beads, so you can microwave this stuffed animal. So I got 4 of those. So I got one for each of my kids, and then there's extra. I've already given them away though. So tough luck. Then a weighted blanket. Oh my God.
Those are, I went to the dentist to Masha, the hygienist earlier this week. Who
I want less than a weighted blanket.
Loves Vlad.
I love to be cuddled. Why does the dentist love Vlad?
When they do
He's missing teeth.
It's less work.
It's very easy to clean.
It's less work.
I guess.
No, so wait, I'll just say the weighted blanket thing. Masha put the lead blanket on me to do the pictures of my teeth. I was saying how I actually find the dentist office very relaxing. I've fallen asleep during every dentist visit. I think it's because of the weighted blanket.
No, so I got the most incredible weighted blanket, and at first I thought, 12 pounds, that's not going to be heavy enough. I really want
that's heavy.
That's one entire child of mine.
I woke up at 4:00 in the morning. Like this.
I don't
think you're meant to sleep all night in one.
I bought a weighted blanket. I was like, I want to be extra relaxed. So I bought a 25-pound blanket. It's not a good idea.
I had like the first 2 nights, I'm not going to lie, I fell into a deep sleep and then had terrible nightmares of like being compressed by this thing. But now that I've acclimated to it, it's so soothing.
I don't think you're meant to sleep all night in it. Isn't it just for a nap?
No, I have to kick it off to my feet at a certain point because
Can
it is
you?
Do you think I'm building bone density while I wear it? Because it's like
Lily and I were talking about bone density earlier today. This is now turning into a old person podcast.
This is a health food podcast for people in menopause.
So, and then I just Google that for me. And then it's arriving today, a new sleep mask, which I'm very excited.
Is it weighted also?
Becky loves a thick sleep
mask. I have a weighted sleep mask, and I can't wear it because it crushes my face too much and gives me headaches.
Can I tell you about mine? Can I tell you about mine? This is how much I don't want a weighted blanket. My sleep mask has the eyes cut out. Okay? That's how much I don't want things pushing on me. So it is a mask, so it covers my eyes, so I can't see the light. But when it's on your face, the eyeball part does not touch me.
See, it
has like little holes so your eyes fit inside, so nothing is touching you.
It's like serial killer looking stuff, Lily. You're walking around with like a mask with the eyes cut out.
Only on one side. On the other side, it just looks like an eye mask.
So it's like you're like a pirate?
So I can just say, I just want to say that I feel like I've put my retail therapy energy into things that are at least providing some level of soothingness and comfort. And I do recommend the Nuzzy weighted sleep blanket. Not sponsored, just a real recommendation. It's a big knit one, so there's no beads in there.
Well,
breathable, very heavy.
The three of us were on a Zoom earlier this weekend, and we were reminiscing about Bruce Pearson's card shop in Montreal.
We were not reminiscing. You were reminiscing.
So
don't drag us into this.
I Googled Bruce Pearson and found the one existing black and white photo of him that still exists from some newspaper.
What are you talking about?
No, because this is my retail therapy. I bought it and I sent it to Josh Crew. So it'll have arrived by the time this episode comes out.
That makes me happy.
It's going to show up at his house. Okay, so, on another, I guess, sad topic, but not as, for us personally, seriously sad. We want to kind of divide our sad. A couple of famous people whose work we really enjoyed passed away. Gene Hackman,
French
legend
connection.
Of the screen.
I met him.
And Michelle Trachtenberg, very young, only 39. But let's talk about their careers.
Hackman, I was doing my workout today, and there's so much to be sad about in this world. But my trainer was like, "Hey, what's got you down?" And I was like, "Well, just one of the many things that has me down." I was like, "Gene Hackman, man, Gene Hackman." I was just
tell the story of meeting him, Lily. That's a cool story.
He was 95. I know. He was filming a movie in Montreal. Do you guys know what movie it was?
I mean,
Enemy of the State had just come out. So it was post Enemy of the State. So it was post Enemy of the State.
So it was during the Renaissance,
I guess.
Really,
yeah. And then we all have acknowledged, I'm sure, on this podcast, how much he looks like our grandfather in that movie.
Oh yeah.
There's a crazy resemblance. So we had heard from someone that he was renting a house in our neighborhood, right? Is that what happened? He was. He was renting a house in our neighborhood while he was filming. And apparently he jogged every morning or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a drive-by. And I got in the car and I drove around our neighborhood. And I was like, I wonder if I'll rent a Jeep. Not weird at all. Not weird. I was
not back then.
I live there anyways. And I took a longer way home from, I guess, than somewhere I was going or coming from. And lo and behold, there he was in Westmount, just on the street.
What'd you say to him?
I pulled over. I got out of the car and I was like, Gene Hackman, you are amazing. I was like, huge fan.
You guys had a nice little chat.
And he was like, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you just
was his voice like that in person? That his voice is so
his voice was
wonderful.
Exactly how you expect. He was so nice. He was just just stopped to chit chat. It wasn't like, yeah, sure, thanks so much, appreciate it. Yeah, bye. No, he just stopped and chatted. He was making a movie. He was renting a house. It's such a nice neighborhood. He had been jogging in the bird sanctuary at the top of the neighborhood, and he was just so nice. And I was like, meet your heroes, people.
So,
they're lovely.
Let's also just, this year I watched a lot of Gene Hackman movies this year. I watched both French Connection 1 and 2, and I watched The Conversation, which is really from his 70s.
Right.
I mean, this is his Oscar-winning
era
period, or his first round of Oscar wins. But then I'm like, Tenenbaums.
Birdcage.
The man could do comedy so well. And
Enemy of the State. He was so good.
The Replacements.
Yeah. The Replacements.
He's just so good.
Yes.
So he's
great reference.
So what a legend. Guy's great in everything he did. You know, I think 2 Oscars, at least 2 that I can remember off the top of my head. 1 for French Connection, 1 for Unforgiven.
Just amazing. He'll be so missed.
He'll be missed. And then Michelle Trachtenberg, wow, so young. And I didn't have a big relationship with her career, but she is in and she's hilarious and funny in one of my favorite raunchy comedies ever, Eurotrip, where she plays one half of the set of The Worst Twins Ever. And I just always thought she was so funny.
She's great. I mean, I also know her from Gossip Girl, so I watched that back in the day.
What season was she on in Gossip Girl?
Who wasn't on Gossip Girl?
She was Georgina Sparks. I don't know. She's a big deal. Anyways, she's so wonderful. It's very, very sad.
Really sad.
All right.
It
was a heavy episode so far.
Ugh, yeah. Okay, let's get into some...
Becky's actually buying things right now.
Yeah. Becky's like, this is the saddest episode. Let's get into some,
We watched 2 movies. Well, we watched 2 movies, and we promised the results of Trailer Price is Right. Do you want to do that before or after we break down? Let's do it before. Okay, so The Gorge. I want to just kick off with my review.
Okay, no. Who won? Don't we need to kick off with who won?
Well, I won the first section.
You did. It doesn't go by section. I won the whole thing.
I won the first section.
I won the whole thing.
Lily, recap the Lily, recap the competition.
I won the first section. Okay. You got the first section. How can you win the whole thing if you get the first percentage incorrect?
I got the first percentage right. Down to the minute.
You got the first percentage wrong by like 7 seconds. I have it written down.
Wrong. Shy.
Even by a penny if you're over.
You need to first recap for the audience what the hell we're talking about.
We watched the trailer of this movie, The Gorge, Apple TV, Miles Teller, and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Or Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya. And the point is that I proposed a Price is Right trailer breakdown. If what percentage of the trailer is the intro,
the trailer of the movie
from the trailer? What do you infer is what percentage is this intro before the rom-com starts, the rom-com piece, and then from hell and the rest of the movie, like until they go to the inside the gorge and the rest of the movie.
And I have the entries.
I have it down to the minute.
Well, you were wrong by a few seconds, and if you're 1 penny over, you're wrong. You lose. And they're not like, oh, Price is Right. She was only 1 penny over.
I said 25, 25, 50.
It was just shy of 25.
Nope.
It was like 24.99.
But if it's under, I'm still winning.
Under, then she wins.
I'm still winning.
So you literally just validated Lily winning.
The movie's 207 minutes. At 30 minutes, she contacts him and the rom-com begins.
I need a clarification of these rules.
No, it's Price is Right rules.
The Price is Right rules.
I'm under. Go over. So I win because I said 25, 25, 50.
That's right on. It's literally at the halfway mark.
At 30 minutes.
Descend into hell.
At 30 minutes, she contacts him. The rom-com starts. She picks up her sign.
Well, you eked in there because you had 6 seconds, but unless you were gonna lose, you had.
No, I had a margin of I think like a few minutes, because then 103.
You know what? Why don't you go produce movies?
103. He falls into the gorge. That is exactly 50%. That's really halfway. True. The movie is 207.
I think they did some market analysis, and they were like, "This is how long."
And then once it's in hell, the rest of that I win. So I was just literally sitting there while I was I'm watching this with Jose, and he's like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And I was like, amazing. I just won this
I had a lot of fun watching it.
It was fine. I had a great time.
I enjoyed this movie a lot. So this is my review. So I watched with my kids, and this is
I didn't feel cheated on the rom-com. I think 25% is the right amount.
And they were adorable together.
Yeah.
Those two did not phone it in this movie, and that is part of why this movie is good, because there's only 3 people in the movie. The 2 of them and Sigourney Weaver and like 1 or 2 other red shirts. And
right.
And then a lot of, as my kids say, like, you know, second-rate Groot chasing after them.
Well, here's
those
what
are the
I
bad
will
guys from
say.
The Last of Us. I think they just reused the CGI from that.
I think it was the right choice to spend the money on the 2 leads and instead just use recycled or unused set pieces from Stranger Things.
Last of Us, like all the others. Yeah.
Because you're not getting me to turn this movie on because I'm excited about
the like hell bad guy whoever's down.
World you're building. It was a combination of White Walkers.
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
But
and Last of Us. And
but also like that what was that Treebeard thing in
yeah, but it was Groot meets a White Walker.
Yeah, which is that thing in Game of Thrones too. Wasn't there like a whole season where they like go to the tree people?
Then the tree, yeah.
Although my kids did ask, they asked, they're like, so they shoot these things every day, but they said there's only 2,400 of them.
No, it's 20. I think it's 24,000.
I think it's
of them.
100.
What? I thought it was like in the thousands.
Whatever, they're growing them.
No, because they don't want to kill them. They like the masterminds behind it don't want to destroy all of them. They want, because they're still continuing the experiments. You just have to keep them from getting out.
Also, like, on one hand, part of me was
not trying to
sad that it wasn't the gates of hell, like actual hell.
I know. I was sad about
I immediately called it. As soon as the movie started, I was like, oh no, this is going to be something to do with a nuclear fallout.
But then it also made it a lot more sense how they can kill them. Because, like, if it's hell and it's demons, like, I don't know if you could actually kill them.
I kind of like the idea of having to, like, stand at the gates of hell with huge guns and shoot demons, but
I was a little bit disappointed. I did read a great review that was like, this is the best movie that should be from a video game but isn't. Like,
it does feel like it was from a video game.
I had to Google it, and then I found this like note that someone on Reddit was like, this is what category of movie is that? Where movie that should have been a video game but isn't? Well, this is like one of the better ones. So
I love the 2 characters, and I love the 2 actors is the best way to describe it, because they were into it and they were very cute when they were flirting with each other and like dancing to
snipers.
The music.
The whole like sniper thing was cool,
and they're like shooting at each other, and that like one. I love that part. I also got to give a ton of respect to, there is one action set piece where they are ascending the mountain with the Jeep on a winch.
Yeah,
that is really cool. And I thought really
tried
inventive.
not to like logic it out.
Logic it out.
Did they like shoot like a harpoon from the Jeep to the top?
No, that's his zip line that broke.
His zip line that broke, they attached to the Jeep.
Okay.
And they attach it to the Jeep, and the Jeep is pulling itself
that
up.
made a lot more sense. I mean, it didn't matter. It didn't take me out of it. I just was like, how did that get up there? Whatever. Keep going.
I do think and this is my theme with a lot of movies this year, I think there's a 90-minute movie in this that is probably more fun. Like, it has a very long denouement. Like in the 80s.
Considering how much is going to happen once they leave the gorge, the gorge part could just be shorter.
Or maybe the beginning. There's so much chatting at the beginning. Anyways, I had great fun. My kids loved it. They had a lot of fun watching it. So I put that up to a buy, just in like the true spirit of Friday Night Movie.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about what was an amazing movie.
I'm so excited to talk about this. And it's rare, I find, when you love something so much to allow, to have people you respect their opinion so much of agree with you. Like, do you ever love something so much that you're like, if somebody doesn't agree, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just me.
I don't walk around that way.
Or like maybe it's
how much stuff I love that you guys hate?
True. But I was like, I guess I was just sort of like, maybe it caught me off guard when I saw it. And although I was like, but it did win the Palme d'Or, so someone agrees with me.
I mean, who knows what that means?
Sure. But who knows what that means exactly? But
not anyways, as important as the Friday Night Movie by Rand Merrick.
True. I will say that I said this last time on the pod. I was very happy that Becky.
Instead of the Palme d'Or, it's the Rent and the Man.
I loved that I was so happy that Becky and Vlad liked it. And then Shai, it was like, I felt like I won like a prize. As if I made this movie. When you texted the chat that you loved Anora.
I love Sean Baker.
I know.
I love Red Rocket.
Than either of us.
No, I know. But still, I was
to
just
me,
sort of
this was like the bet, like, not the, like.
I was well primed for it.
I was well primed for it. I love his other movies, and I particularly love Red Rocket, where he deals with the story of sex workers, which I think more than, I don't remember as much about. Is it Florida Project that he did?
Tangerine.
Tangerine is also about sex work.
Okay, I didn't, and so but I think Anora is absolutely a fantastic movie, and it was also a long movie, but
it's a little long.
It didn't bother me. And Mikey Madison, like, Demi Moore will probably win the Oscar, and she's great, and she has a great career. But to me, of all of the acting performances I've seen this year, and now I've seen The Brutalist, I've seen this, I've seen A Real Pain, Mikey Madison all the way. Like, to me, that was
nominated besides her.
Is it just her from the movie that's nominated, or any of the other?
Igor is nominated.
Igor's.
That's cute.
Supporting. He was great.
That's a tough.
I don't think he's gonna win.
Like, he's good in it.
But I think what makes his performance so good is that it's like he has to just be so subtle in the background where your eye is just kind of going to him going like, what? Is he important? Is he not? Like, it's so restrained. Like, everything he does is so restrained. And and so earnest and so, like, you know, like, you really, really, really believe it. And
right, but he's up against Kieran Culkin, who I think might win, maybe? I don't know. He's won everything.
Love that Igor's nominated. I more recognition for Igor. He's amazing.
Yura Barisov.
But, so I think that the story, which is about this woman, this sex worker, exotic dancer who ends up, I don't even want to just give too much away, but she ends up on like a couple weeks, is it a week or a couple weeks, sort of.
I think it's a few weeks, maybe
adventure.
2 weeks. With
her life being turned upside down because she falls in a relationship with this guy who's the son of a Russian oligarch. But it amazingly, even though it has thugs and bodyguards and all this stuff, it's not a crime movie.
And it's not violent.
I think is so.
It's not particularly violent.
It's not a crime movie, and
I really appreciate it.
I think the part that is the most shocking is the way in which they're Russian and
Armenian.
These Russian and Armenian, like, men who are presented as like gangsters or henchmen are like they're not like violent enforcer, like
they're trying to do their job. They're there to protect the kid.
Do their job, which is to watch out for this kid, but you sort of expect, you know, there to be like threatening people's lives and breaking bones, and it really just sort of turns
it's like right, because they're not necessarily
on its head.
It's a family of an oligarch, but it's not necessarily like they don't remotely make it. It's not like they're a mafia or drugs or
right.
They don't explain what they are.
They don't explain what they are.
No, they don't explain, but they do hint that some of their fashion or some of their fortune has to do with fashion. Because he says to his mom, "Is that from the new spring collection?" And she's like, "Yes, of course. This is for."
Well, I just thought he like new spring collection.
No, I think that's just
couture.
like her new spring wardrobe.
I just assumed that she works in, you know.
I thought that was just like a sign of the sun sucking up to her.
That she went to Paris and got whatever's the new.
Sean Baker has a way of making you feel for the oddest, for the not the obvious people, and it's so cool. Karen Karagulian. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but who plays Toros, who's like the head enforcer, who is like pleading with her throughout the movie just to listen to him. Right. And at first you're not sure.
Wait, is that the lawyer or is that the guy that gets his nose broken?
No. The one that's at his kid's baptism and has to leave.
Yeah, he's like the priest or whatever.
He's the boss.
Or
he's technically a lawyer, but he was at his grandkid's baptism.
Oh, he's a lawyer?
I think he's the lawyer. Isn't he?
I thought the lawyer was the guy that needs to...
He hires the lawyer.
He's like the fixer.
Right. He's the fixer, I guess.
But he like works in the church.
I guess he is the priest. Yeah.
He's like the
priest. No, he's not the priest.
Why is he wearing those robes?
I thought it was because he was at...
No, he is the priest. He is the priest. But
this is what people came to.
Look, I don't know enough about. You know what?
Here's the thing. Like to listen to us debate the minute details.
No, but here's the thing. For us, it's a cool little detail about the culture. We're not getting hung up on his job here because what the main thing about him is he's this guy who comes in as this heavy, but is also oddly compassionate throughout the movie. And I found that I thought he's someone I would have nominated. Igor is cool in the movie, but I would have nominated this guy just as much.
I think if you go back and you track Igor through the whole movie, knowing how things evolve and where it ends, it's pretty incredible to see his like how he becomes more and more present,
especially in the fight scene. Especially in that fight scene
when he's trying to restrain her.
He's just trying to restrain her.
It's so.
That was so.
It's so like It just felt very. Like this is what's exciting about watching great movies and great storytellers, or something like that living room scene, which goes on forever. It just goes on for so long, and it's like very little is happening, but so much is being revealed throughout this scene about the characters and who they are. And it's one of my most favorite scenes I've seen in a while. How long is that part of the film? Like 15 minutes
like
at
10,
least?
15 minutes.
It's so
also,
long.
What I thought was so great is that the first half is basically Pretty Woman.
Or like
it's leading you to believe it's Pretty Woman.
That it's right. And they even make references to Pretty Woman with like Cinderella and all, like there's, she only needed to say big mistake. Like that, it was like basically so much of that kind of story. And then it's only half of the movie. And then there's this other half, and it's I just thought it was so well done, the evolution of Anora's character and how tough she is. And it's sort of like, everybody is fighting for what they feel like they deserve in life or in a situation, and promises that were made. And, is she really in love with him? It's irrelevant.
Also, it's her dicks.
Sure. But also what
the transaction. And I thought like one of the things that I found really interesting about the story is looking at the transactional nature of each of the relationships, right? And that sort of coming to a climax at the very end of the film. And you could look at that through, Toros and the parents, or Anora and Yvonne, and like just that. And I think one of the really cool things that Sean Baker does in this movie is examining the different types of transactional relationships that we all have.
Even with his parents.
Exactly, that the kid has with his parents, right?
But also ultimately, I thought it was interesting is that the parents aren't wrong. And the parents, I get that there's a lot wrong with what they do and how they do it, but ultimately they are like, enough already, get your life together, like stop acting like an asshole.
Right, you're going to come home, you're going to work.
You're going to come home, you're going to work in the business.
Anora,
they're horrible to her, and it's not justifiable how they treat her. And the scandal of her being a sex worker is not,
But it also makes sense to me that their kid treats her. That scene in the lawyer's office with
Vegas
the apology
that's to me
so
one of the
telling.
best.
It reveals everything in that moment.
It's great. It's great movie. Highly recommend it. Very R-rated, especially the first half.
Don't watch it with your parents or in-laws.
I have to tell you that,
or children.
Look, I feel like I've seen again, amazing performances. Mikey Madison to me was the best one I saw. It reminded me of, it was like Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vidi, but if the movie was about her, you know what I mean? Like if she was the core character, and it's an edgier story, of course. And as a movie, I think I liked it more, at least as much as The Brutalist and A Real Pain. I think that movie is really incredible. And I think it's going to last a long time. I think that movie is going to be a movie people watch over and over.
I just feel like this is easily the kind of movie, I'm so glad he didn't make this as his first movie. Do you know what I mean? Like that, whatever it took in his career to get here, I think it's his 9th movie, that took this long or however he needed to do it to get to this point, because
masterful level.
Right, this masterful level, which makes sense. That looks like this is someone who has made many movies, who's learned how to make movies over, like, and hone his craft and his style. And I'm just really happy because I feel like every year we look at the Oscars and we're like, blah, this other movie was so good, didn't get recognized. And I'm glad that people are paying attention to this.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole list of all the movies, but the 3 big ones that I've seen are
I have it here.
Really worthy and really cool.
Yeah, Florida Project, Tangerine, and Red Rocket.
Okay, so just to review, Lily won the trailer percentages.
Woo.
Becky seems to be salty about that.
Becky was I won part of the competition.
Don't feel like
That's not how it works.
You know, a lot of math involved between percentages and minutes.
I literally was typing it out.
Guys, I was going to just rough it
to do math.
As the one who got it wrong, very wrong. Like, I'm just going to rough
that wrong. You said a third. It's not terrible.
It wasn't close to it, but like mine was not close at all.
We were each off by like
a quarter into the movie. They're already talking to each other. I'm like, oh well, I lost. Right. Anyways, any other recs or things? Beck and I. Oh, just folks should know. Beck and I are gearing up to go to South by Southwest. We have already started receiving the screeners for things. There is amazing stuff coming. We have amazing guests booked already. We have like a full roster.
We got some seriously cool guests.
Yeah, so we can all tell you after we confirm that they
I would say,
did the show.
These interviews are happening until they're not. So
yeah, exactly.
Sure, but for now it's looking pretty
we've
exciting.
never said who we have in advance. We're not going to, but if it comes out the other side the way it's supposed to, it's going to be really cool. And I just love that festival. It's going to be so fun and rejuvenating.
Okay,
cool.
I don't have. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've seen anything.
We've talked about The Pit on Max. Noah
Are you
Wiley.
finally watching it?
I'm watching it. I haven't caught up, but I'm watching it. It's like very intense, and
I fast forward some storylines that are too sad.
It's like it's like
the last episode had a very sad storyline. I just had to boop over it.
And I'm just really into this rec that cousin Vanessa, shout out to her, gave me on Stars, which is 3 Women with Shailene Woodley. Also not safe for work television show. It's like a lot of full frontal of everyone. But
interesting.
It's a really, I thought the acting is amazing. Betty Gilpin is in it. And yeah, Becky, I think you would really enjoy it.
Okay.
It's not for shy, but I think Becky would enjoy it. All right, that's it. All right, guys.
All right, guys. Well, have a great week. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Friday Night Movie, the sibling rivalry and pop culture podcast. Join the Friday Night Movie family by following @FryNightMovie on all of the socials and visiting our website, FryNightMovie.com. Our theme song is by What Does It Eat? And make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.